Welcome back to One Piece Anime Re-Review, Part 23. 24A. Yep, YA. Because I decided to split in half the arc, review-wise, for the current arc we're going, which is Sabaody Archipelago. This arc is basically, even though this video I'm only covering episodes 385 to 394. It's roughly 10 episodes. Better for me to do this way. Yep. Now, this arc itself is not very long, particularly, no. Don't worry, the next half basically will cover the rest. Now, in these episodes, we have basically, well, it starts out basically with everyone going fishing, getting bored, and then a sea king pops up and Luffy punches it, and all of a sudden we see, come out of its mouth, a mermaid and a talking starfish. This is Cam and Papago. Their first appearance in the series, and don't worry, they do return after this. Like, yeah, they make their debut here, and they have to go rescue their character, their friend Hachin. Yep, Hachin. He was kidnapped by the flying fish raiders and this gang of fishmen who've got this sun on their bodies. Yeah, this is not explained here what the sun means. The sun actually, the symbol itself does not get explanation to Amazon Lily. Though it gets a bit more explanation in Fishman Island arc, which they've been teasing all along. So yeah, they have to basically get Hachin so they can get the special food. And the thing is, Hachin, they keep him a secret. Yeah, this is the same guy who was part of the Arlon Pirates. And he's being held captive by a giant man named Duvall. And what this guy's face looked like is so strange. And him and his group do become minor characters in this arc. Yeah. So they go to rescue them, and we see the debut of a brand new feature. The Gao Lion Cannon. Yep. This is actually, as far as I know, this is the first time in this. This is probably one of the. I'm trying to think though. The arcs come after this. Let me think here about this. I think this is the cannon's only appearance in the series because I don't think it shows up in the rest of the series. No, I don't think it does. Yeah, because right after this became the crew gets separated. Yep. Excuse me. Yeah, because as far as I know, this cannon never returned again. Ever in the series. It's a cool feature, which you can at least appreciate that. But surprisingly, it doesn't return again. This he says that, yeah, it uses a boatload of cola. Yeah, it does. How much cola does it use? At least 6 barrels. Yeah, 6 barrels, because they have to use a coup de burst in order to basically make sure that the ship doesn't go complete backwards. Is the basic call of the recoil. So he uses it against as much as the flying fish raiders. And then we see what the guy's the guy got to take off his mask. And oh boy, what this guy looks like under the mask. What does he look like? He's the face on Sanji's wanted poster. Yeah, and apparently the guy was an extortionist. Yeah, he extorted people for money. And he didn't like the fact that his face was associated with Sanji, and people thought that he was Sanji, despite the fact that he really wasn't. I mean, are people that stupid? For one thing, Sanji is not this freaking tall. I mean, yeah, the guy's got a similar face, but Sanji is not 10 feet tall. No, he's about the same height as freaking Zoro. Yeah, for one thing, so the guy may have his face, at least him looking face. He's the wrong size. Isn't Navy that damn stupid in the series? Apparently they are. So, when Sanji hears exactly about this, and the fact that, well, the guy's got the face on the one poster, he proceeds to beat the living crap out of him. Oh my gosh. Even to the point he fixes the man's face. Whenever he sees the face, everyone's shocked the fact he has that. And he says, oh yeah, it's very reason. It's like, was somebody at the rotate you got beef with?" It's like, and he goes, "Oh yeah, it was very recent. Oh yeah, because the wine poster. Yep, that was the reason why." And he fixed his face to where it looks different. He basically kind of broke his face in a way, make it a lot more smoother, so it looked almost nothing like him. He came in the most ingenious way possible to make sure that people don't find him. Cut your hair, grow a beard. And he never thought of it. Yeah. The fisherman, now when they first meet up with Hachin, he covers himself with ink oil, just so swipers will recognize him. And the only one, they can easily tell it's him. He says, and of course, I think Sanjay, "Hey, how's Arlong these days?" And he says, and Hachin says this: "He and the rest of the crew were basically arrested by the Navy, and I escaped and basically gave me a pirate, became a salesman." I'm like, okay. I like the fact that it was mentioned that we could follow up with Arlong because it's was kind of implied that we was definitely captured, but yeah, was officially captured. And I keep wondering though, like, Arlong was a great character in the series, and his only return is in flashback, believe it or not. Yeah. So after Hachin's free, we get a chance to try his famous octopus food. And Duvall, basically, because he's handsome now, yeah, Sanji basically made his face so smooth and basically straightened out his curly eyebrows, making it look like they're very smooth, but a little bit of curl there. So, yeah, and keeps calling Sanji Young Master. And surprisingly, he doesn't tell him to stop calling him Young Master. Yeah, that's something quite interesting, though, when it comes to Sanji. Like, even though he probably doesn't want to be called Young Master, he probably doesn't have a problem with that at all. Because if it had been for him, his face wouldn't have been like the way it is. So they give him his Transpire Sound number, just in case they call him. He calls him 3 episodes later. Right after this. Yeah, believe it or not, they spent 6 episodes fighting the Fishman Pirates. The Flying Fish Raiders. So, they go to this Sabaody Archipelago. And on this island, we see the debut of a bunch of new characters. The Mad Monk, a man whose bounty is like a little over 100 million. Captain Kidd, Trafalgar Law. His mink bear makes appearance here. I don't think who else. Jewel the Glutton. Yeah, she's the only one of the... Yeah, I've heard of that as the 11 Supernovas. Gang and his group basically make debut here. Killer, which according to Oda, he admits he was very lazy to come up with this man's name. I'm trying to think, who else made a debut here? Oh yeah, Silver Rayleigh. The man who used to be the right-hand man of Goldie Roger, believe it or not. Oh yes, definitely. I'm trying to think, was there any debut characters here? Oh yes, Scratchman. Yeah, he makes his debut here. That's it. Yeah. Boatload of characters. We also see the introduction of the Celestial Dragons, which, according to Hachin, they are, believe it or not, the blood descendants of the founders of the world government. No joke. And these guys are arrogant pricks. Yeah, I remember these guys. Oh boy. These guys are nothing more than a bunch of selfish jerks who thinks the air outside of the Holy Land is too good for them. So they wear these bubble masks. And they keep slaves. They can be either pirates, women, children, doesn't matter which. Yeah, oh boy. Yeah, and they buy these slaves on the Archipelago. Yeah. So we have Cammy, and we have basically split the group up into a few different groups. We have Zorgoff on his own. We have Sanji, Usopp, and Frankie on the Sunny, and we have Nami, Robin, Cammy, Papago, Hachin, Chopper. Pretty much most of the Straw Hat crew, minus those 3, decided to go out cruising, and of course Nami sees them all. She and Robin go off to them all. Cammy stays with them, despite the fact she was off for the go. And they just happen to go, and of course they go meet Shiki. Yeah, this is her first appearance in the series. Excuse me. And she explains that, yeah, Basically, Luffy's grandfather, where he mentioned she meant. Here's the thing, she meant like she thinks that Cammy was Hachin's girlfriend. He's like, no, she just works for me. And apparently she's probably like an old friend. Like I went in charge, and apparently she knows like Chopper's favorite food is freaking cotton candy. Yeah. Oh yeah, we also see that Brooke is basically drinking tea. Now I should point out though his tea cup has got little skulls around it with little like black hair around the skulls, and he's got like a thermos. I'm like, where the heck did he get that? Because I know he had the teacup when he was on his own ship, but where did he get the thermos on? They must have bought it someplace. They don't explain exactly. That would be nice to have a minor story, like maybe he can have an offhand mention like where he got them, and maybe bought it, or maybe he had it for about 50 years. Who knows? They really explain it all. So, so yeah. Of course, she does explain about the 11 supernovas, basically the other 9 aside from Luffy and Zoro. Oh yeah, and also Captain Kidd's bounty is higher than Luffy's by 15 million. The reason is because he also kills civilians. Yep, that's the reason why. And we see them like fighting each other. Glutton, Jewel is basically eating like crazy. I'm thinking though she's a glutton and yet she's still that freaking thin. Zoro, meanwhile, comes across just by sheer coincidence of walking about. He just happens to come across one of the Celestial Dragons. Of course, he doesn't bow. The guy is upset by it because, of course, you have to bow whenever you're in presence of the Celestial Dragon. Luffy like, yeah, that's complete bullcrap. We don't need to bow anybody. Of course, Hacha is disguised. He basically hides, he hides 4 of his 6 arms and have his big coat. Cammy hides her fin via a skirt, a long skirt, and a pair of shoes. Okay, that's perfectly fine. Papago, the thing is, I don't think anybody has a problem with him. He's a talking starfish. Which I think is so hilarious. And of course, Luffy asks the obvious question from Mermaid, like, do you poop? She's like, yeah. And almost like she's about to explain it, and I think Chopper's like, that's something we don't need to know. Actually, and we also at one point where Sanji, when he's knocking the water during the battle, and he basically is like nosebleeds, and because he's in Cammy's chest. And of course, Nami and Usopp says, oh, he's fine. He thinks oh, he's perfectly fine. So they go out looking for and the ship basically the ships from Alan need to get coded. And he happens to know one particular coder he trusts for Sabashiki's bar. And of course it's also Shiki apparently was chased by Garp when she was younger. How old she is never stated. I mean, she looks like a woman probably, and this is my personal guess when it comes to her, she looks like she's in her early 30s. She's like 30 to 40, I'd say. But she says she was a pirate 40 years prior to events of the series, so she could be older. And of course, Brooks basically takes instant shine to her, and he asks her, can you tell me what color your panties are? I think that's hilarious, the fact he actually does. I'm sure that other women basically would not find that funny. I find that hilarious, the fact that he actually says that to Shiki of all people, who's no friend of Hachins. And of course she easily figures out that Luffy is related to Garp because of a similar name. Yeah. And of course they go, and first place they go to look for Rayleigh. Yeah, he shows up in episode 94. Before they first go to Sabaody Park, which is where Cammy got kidnapped. Now, while they're there, they go on. She actually always wanted to go on the Ferris wheel, but she couldn't for some reason. So, while they were getting, I think it was ice cream, Cammy is just taken off screen by a man in a bear costume, who turns out he's been doing this for a long time. So she takes off to the auction house, where Cammy disappeared. And Chopper cryingly calls Sanji, and Sanji's like, okay, I'm gonna call them the Flying Fisherman Raiders. And it was like, what? What are you calling that for? Yeah, this happens in episode 393, mind you. And they come to take a while, though. And, okay, he's like, okay, we'll agree to help you. And this is why Sanji doesn't really like him very much. It's like, okay, first we're going to pick up the rest of your crew, and then we're going to look for her. And he's like, that's fine. And they actually find Chopper and Brook really easily with just chillaxing by the Transpire Snailways, where Chopper is eating on candy and lying in a lounge chair. Brook first is seen drinking tea, just sitting like normal, and then he just lies on the ground with the tea just spilling over the ground. Like, what? I thought that was quite hilarious. Oh yeah, apparently people are frightened by Brook, like a little girl. Actually, the little girl is not frightened by Brook. It's her mom. The little girl has to catch her mom. I thought that was funny. In fact, she's spooked by Brook. Yeah, he's a walking skeleton. Even Shiki when she first meets him. Like, I've never met a skeleton before who actually could walk and talk before. Yeah. So, after they pretty much go looking for Cammy, and they find Hachin, Papagu, and Luffy if they stop by an auction house. Well, basically a place where they sell slaves. And nope, they find her there, and then the Flying Fisher has picked them up, and they go off. And Luffy asks him if he gets something. Can you jump? Can you jump pretty high? He says, yeah. So he picks up Papago, and they hop on the Flying Fisher, and they go off to find Cammy. Of course, they don't have Zoro with them, but they have pretty much almost everybody else. And pretty much leaving the Thousand Sunny undefended, like nobody's there. Well, they do eventually, of course, they also find Nami, and of course Frankie goes and finds Nami and Robin, and of course Frankie says, hey Robin and Girly, and Nami's like, did you just call me Girly? I thought that was kind of hilarious. And the thing ends with Cammy's at the auction house, and then I think it's the auctioneer, who's actually mysteriously knocked unconscious. There's something similar happened with the Fisherman Raiders, where the bull was just basically panicked because Luffy, it's revealed later, that he was using Haki, which Luffy didn't know he had Haki, but yeah. Back in the flashback, it was the unofficial debut of Haki. This is kind of the debut of Haki, the official, well, this first appearance of Luffy's Haki. And apparently Rayleigh has knocked out the auctioneer with his Haki as well. And in case you're wondering, Shanks' Haki is really strong. Like, he's able to knock out half of Whitebeard's crew in less than a minute. Just by putting him to sleep because it's very strong Haki. And that's pretty much left off there. And don't worry, we'll be discussing the next episode soon. Okay? Yeah, great set of episodes. And lots of introductions. And the reason why I stopped with episode 84 because this is before the craziness happens in like the very next episode. So it was kind of good the fact I stopped at 394 because crazy stuff happens over the course of the next 11 episodes. Okay, so that's it for Single of You. Stay tuned for my next review, which I think I might have time to do today. I'll probably do it in about a few hours anyway. So yeah, until you see the next video. Bye.